Hey everyone, it's Michaela Schweitzer Bloom, your diplomat in residence for the Northwest. I am really happy to be here today with one of the virtual interns working with me, Chelsea. So I'm going to turn it over to Chelsea to introduce what we're going to do today.
Hey everyone, my name is Chelsea. I'm an intern with the Virtual Student Federal Service. And if you want to learn more about that, I will have the link below for you. So basically, we asked the Reddit community for the top myths that they've heard in foreign service, and they had so much to share. And so because of the overwhelming response we received, we decided to create a myth debunking series for you guys. And so this is the first episode.
And today, Chelsea's going to throw some myth versus fact at me. And I'll try and clarify what is fact. And we'll try and give you some links where relevant so you can follow up with some research of your own. So let's get right into it.
Yeah, so let's bust some myths. All right. First one, myth or fact? You don't need a specific degree to get into foreign service. Heck, you don't even need a degree.
So this one's a little complicated because, as everyone knows, there's a lot of different career opportunities in the foreign service. And it depends on which of those opportunities you're pursuing. If you're looking at foreign service officer positions, it is true. You do not need a degree past high school. You need a high school degree, but you do not need an undergrad degree. You definitely don't need a graduate degree. Those are certainly lovely things to have, but they're not required. If you're looking at some of our specialist positions, you have to look carefully at each of the specialist positions because some of them do require very specific degrees. Our engineering ones, certainly our medical ones. So take a look at those closely when you're thinking about applying for them and make sure that you meet the education requirements for those degrees. But yes, it's true for both our foreign service officer positions as well as for a number of our specialist positions. You don't need a higher education degree, maybe for some of them it's an associate's degree, but yeah, FSOs and actually information management specialists you can apply for without a higher education degree.
Wow, that's great. Thank you, Mika. Okay, let me throw a second one at you. Myth or fact? The FSOT is similar to the LSAT, MCAT, or SAT in that performance is strongly correlated to the amount of preparing and studying. It also depends on when you take it.
So the FSOT stands for the Foreign Service Officer Test, and all applicants for the Foreign Service Officer position do have to take the Foreign Service Officer Test. I would say it is not equivalent to the LSAT, MCAT, all GRE, all those other ones, because it's not based on specific information. It's a general knowledge test. So it's sometimes just what you know. There are certainly things that you can brush up on, and we do encourage people to take the practice test. I strongly encourage people to use our app, DOS Careers, which has a fantastic test yourself section. It has quizzes broken down by subject, so you can figure out where you might need to do some studying. Maybe it's on the economics, maybe it's on your US Constitution. But it's really hard to study for the whole thing because it is general knowledge. So I do encourage people to take the practice tests and the quizzes and focus in. In terms of timing, it's entirely up to you. People need to decide for themselves when they're ready. And I think using those practice tests and those quizzes can help you.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to throw another one at you. Myth or fact? You have to be former military or law enforcement to join DS. And for those who don't know, what is DS?
Sure, that one's a definite myth. I can be really clear on that one. Diplomatic Security, or DS, has said you do not need to have a law enforcement or military background to apply to be a diplomatic security special agent. And in fact, I've had a couple of different Facebook Live sessions on the diplomatic security special agent position, and Chelsea will add in a link right here to the last one that I did with Kayla, which was was back in November. So check that out. And Kayla goes into a lot of detail about diplomatic security.
Great. Okay. Myth or fact, only the State Department has a foreign service?
That is also a myth. Not only does the State Department have a foreign service, but the U.S. Agency for International Development has a foreign service. The Department of Commerce has the Foreign Commercial Service, and the Department of Agriculture also has a Foreign Agriculture Service. So if you're interested in having a career with the federal government and serving around the world, you can check out 4 different foreign service opportunities with these different agencies. We all work closely together, and definitely when we're overseas, we're all working in the embassy together as one team. So check them out.
Myth or fact, you can't get a security clearance if you've lived overseas?
That's also a myth. You can definitely get a security clearance if you've lived overseas. You need to, there's plenty of people in the Foreign Service who have lived all over the world. And we really welcome that international experience and perspective. It may take a little longer because we've got to do some research into all the different places that you've lived, but hang in there. It's not a problem.
Myth or fact, all Department of State employees work overseas?
Also a myth. The Department of State has our headquarters in Washington, D.C. We also have offices in various parts of the United States, our passport agencies, our diplomatic security offices, field offices, our Office of Foreign Mission locations, and our mission in New York. So we've got people all over the United States, in Washington, D.C., and at our passport agencies and some of those other locations I mentioned. That's where the bulk of our civil service colleagues work. So the Department of State has 2 career tracks. We have the Foreign Service and the Civil Service, 2 equal parts of our organization that make us who we are. And I encourage people to look into the Civil Service, and we'll put a link to the Civil Service right here. We'll also put a link right here to the available jobs in the Civil Service right now, because on our website, careers.state.gov, we do keep an updated running list of civil service jobs as well. So if you're not interested in moving around the world, that's okay. That's not for everybody, but we still have great jobs for you, and check out our civil service.
Yeah, great. And just to follow up to the previous myths, myth or fact, if you speak a certain language or have a background in a certain region of the world, then you obviously would be posted there for your first tour?
That's also a myth. Your first 2 tours in the Foreign Service are directed, and that's partly based on what are the needs of the service at the time. And it's also based on what do you need to be able to demonstrate you can be a successful Foreign Service employee and get that tenure that you're going to want to get at about year 3, year 4. So your first 2 assignments are based on a discussion with your career assignments officer and based on the needs of the service. It may be that we take advantage of a regional or language expertise. It may be that we say, we want you to get some new language expertise, so we're going to send you to this other place. So it really depends on what is needed at the time.
Myth or fact, you need to be extremely familiar with your cone's laws?
Oh, goodness. I would say it depends on whether or not the questioner was thinking during the application process or during your employment. Certainly during employment, everybody needs to know what the rules and the regulations are related to the work that we do. And so as employees, we do want to be familiar with the rules and regulations. In terms of if the person was asking prior to application and in the Foreign Service Officer test process and evaluation process, I would say the answer is no, we don't expect you to know every detail of what are the rules and regulations that we follow before you join. I think that for the Foreign Service Officer test, it is useful to be familiar with the general pieces of legislation and rules and laws that do govern the Foreign Service operations. Those are useful. And you can find those on our website under the suggested reading list. There are a couple of books related to realities of the Foreign Service life. Those are good to look at.
Right. And I mean, in their assignments, will those cone laws be taught on the job?
Yes, great question, Chelsea. Yeah, before anyone goes overseas, you get professional training related to the job that you're going to be doing. So if you're going to go overseas on your first assignment and you're going to be doing consular work, my first tour was in Kathmandu, Nepal. I did consular work and I did political work, 1 year of each. So I got training in both before I went overseas. Particularly with consular work, it's very important that we understand the laws and the rules that govern the decisions that we're going to be making as consular officers. So you get a lot of professional training. Similarly, when you're going overseas in a specialist position, say you're going overseas as a human resource specialist, you're going to want to get all that training that we will give you to learn about human resource and employment laws that we follow.
This next one is very obvious. Myth or fact? If you fail the test, you're not meant to be in the Foreign Service.
That's a myth. Take it again. Go through, apply again. There's no, the process of joining the Foreign Service for any of our positions, all the generalist positions, all the specialist positions, it is competitive. It's a multi-phased evaluation process. Everybody goes through 3 stages of evaluation before you get to the final, yes, we want you as an employee. So it's competitive. And most of the people, here's a fact, most of the people in the Foreign Service have applied for the position they have more than once. Some 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I've heard even 9 times. Wow. So if you're really interested, stick with it. It is a competitive process, but you should consider yourself competitive and keep trying.
Awesome. Great motivation for, potential applicants. Thank you, Mika. The last one is kind of a funny one. Myth or fact, that we are all swigging champagne at fancy cocktail parties, flying first class, and got hired through prep school connections. What can you say about that?
No, none of that's true. All of that's a myth. We work hard. There's diplomatic work is serious work. It is hard work. It's very rewarding work. It's fascinating work. You do go to cocktail parties as part of your job. It's generally not where you're swinging a lot of champagne. It's generally where you're looking around the room and thinking, who do I need to be talking to? Who do I need to be asking questions of? Or who do I need to be dropping information on? There are opportunities to develop relationships, advance U.S. interests, and work. In terms of we definitely are not flying first class, I'll tell you that. And in terms of where people come from, we have people in the Foreign Service, generalists and specialists from all 50 states, people who have been born overseas, American citizens, both naturalized citizens as well as citizens who have been born overseas and have traveled around the world with maybe their Foreign Service or military families. Maybe their parents are in international business. We have people from universities, high schools all over the country. We've got folks who have started out in community college and transferred to 4-year institutions. As I said before, we have people with associate degrees. So one of the things that I always try and make sure people think about is see yourself in the Foreign Service. There is a place for you in the Foreign Service. We are a diverse set of people that represent the diversity and the richness of the United States. And I really hope that that folks do see themselves in the Foreign Service.
What a great way to wrap up the video. It just shows so much of your passion and how you motivate others to become, leaders like you. And hopefully people watching this video can become foreign service officers and, just pursue their passion in the foreign service. So thank you so much for that.
Well, Chelsea, thanks for soliciting the ideas and the myths versus facts. This was fun. I'll look forward to our next one. And if folks want to learn more about all the variety of different career opportunities that are in the Department of State, go to careers.state.gov, or you can reach out to me directly at my email, dirnorthwest@state.gov. So nice to see everybody.
Yep, see you in the next video.